So here we have all the prep is done. Different bowls. We have 6 crushed garlic cloves, a bag of parsley chopped, divided into 2, half with a good teaspoon of salt, the other half without. We only could get a large tin of Hubbard's butter beans, as they're called in England, but I'll only use half of those probably. And that's the decoration for the centre of the paella, and you can eat that. We've got pork belly. In Spain we would use pork ribs, and we chop them on the rib and boil them first, but we're going to cook pork belly without the bone, so that's fine. Chicken chopped up, skinless, boneless, green flat beans, you can get Spanish ones or stringless English ones, red and green peppers chopped into slices, tomato passata, which is just smashed up tomatoes, etc. Paella, rice, mussels, which I'm going to cook and then put in the bowl, and the mussel water I will add to the stock. The stock is 1 cube of fish stock, 1 cube of chicken stock, and at the moment that says 1200, so it's just over a litre, but I will probably make it up to 2 litres and use what I need rather than not have enough. I've cleaned the prawns, most of them, taken the antennae off and the legs because we don't want to be bothered with that at the table. And to dress the paella, we've got sliced up lemons. We're going to serve it with crusty bread sliced up and a huge bowl of alioli that John made, and it's absolutely delicious. That's the ingredients. So we've cooked the mussels. Any that didn't open fully, I've thrown away. I don't take any chances. And then I'm just going to strain the mussel juice into that. There you go. So I've got about 2 litres of stock. And that's your prep. Good splurge of olive oil.
Make sure you're speaking loud enough, Mum. Garlic.
Salt, parsley. Now look, it's windy today, so I'm going to battle with the wind, but okay, so we let that cook for a minute or 2. It's just starting to sizzle now. And the first thing I'm going to put in, excuse me, is my green and red peppers. Oh, smell the garlic. Smell those Tuareg fires. There you go. Bertie, you won't get hurt. And that starts splashing. You won't want to be stood underneath that. I'm going to cook these. Use the whole paella pan, don't just cook in the middle. Also going to put in my prawns. Now all of this I'm going to take out and put back in later. Perfectly alright to do that, perfectly safe to do that. wish this wasn't so windy here. There's not really anywhere in the garden that's not today. But we'll get there. As long as you've got gas, it'll stay lit. They'll go back in when the liquid goes in to finish off. Okay? Those out, that's your peppers out and your corns out. You don't leave them in because they'll overcook. You want the garlic flavour and the oily flavour. So now I'm going to put in my chicken so the wasps can't have it. Chop the chicken as small as you like, and that's my pork. Okay, fry this off. It's just a case of keep turning the meat, making sure it's cooked properly. It'll cook further when you put the stock in, but we just want to brown it a bit if we can. The stock's been so windy. Whoa, you nearly had the prawns then, Bertie. Didn't you, baby? Didn't you? You would love that, wouldn't you? Turning the chicken over, brown on the other side a bit. Chicken's not coming out now, that's staying in. So I'm just turning the meat over, bit by bit. I had to move the meat inside because I'm not sure if this is lit here or not. I think it is. I need a new one of these, that's what I do. Okay, so now waspies go away. In go my green beans. Okay. In go my butter beans. I'm going to use half these. Oh, what the hell. Back in go my peppers. Give it a mix. Spread them out fairly, but you're not going to touch it once you put the rice in. Over the side. Spread your red peppers out because they're pretty, and then put your prawns in. Oh no, your rice. So your rice, importantly, you put one hand per person and one for the pot. So there's 5 of us. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and one for the pot to fill up the holes that don't have much. That's it. On top of that, I'm going to lay my prawns, push them again. Put them in so that they're going to get into the juice. They're already cooked anyway. They've only been cooked a few minutes ago. I'm putting far too many in, but we love them. Juice. Lastly, in the middle, we put our cut ajo, and then we just pour over. Don't put too much in at once, just make sure you wet it all the rice. I'm going to need that. I'm going to leave that to sizzle away. I'm going to put some passata in as well. Pour it around. Gives it more flavour. Probably a small part of this. Yeah, about half that. So I've just made sure all the prawns heads are in the juice. And just wait for that to bubble. And then I add the rest of my stock. And 20 minutes later, it'll be ready. It takes about 30 minutes altogether. I'm going to turn that, that's a big clove, big thing of garlic, so I'm going to turn it upside down so it cooks better that way, and then I'll turn it up the right way. So as you can see, I've had to move inside because the wind just keeps blowing my paella ring out and it keeps relighting itself. So I brought it in here, I've put the 2 hobs on, 4 hobs on, but because of all different sizes, I'm going to have to start turning it around and panning around like that, which is a pain in the arse. I've moved my big garlic to the most fiercest gas, so that cooks a bit quicker. This is not cooking in the middle, so I'll move that over and we'll jig it around. But I'm just making sure that all the mussels are in the water, so they get reheated properly. Everything else, make sure it's in the liquid. And at this stage, now it's really bubbling, I'm going to add some more stock. It's also important when you set up your ring tin that you put a paella pan on it and you use a small spirit level to check that it's level. If you don't, you'll end up with all the liquid to one side, which is what I had out there. John didn't know how to level it, so it's not his fault. Nigel usually does that for me. So I'm just going to put the rest of it in. There you go. And I shan't be putting any more in now. And I'm going to switch it off recording for a minute while I just jiggle this around. And I'm just literally going to be moving it from pillar to post just to make sure I get everything bubbling. So I just turn it, and then lastly I'll do the middle on the bigger one, and then move the garlic cloves into the middle. So I'll switch it off for now and you'll see it in a bit. So now you can see it's really bubbling around the outside, but it's not doing much on the inside. That's okay at the moment, I'm not worried about that. But that's how it should be bubbling when it's on your paella ring. It should be going like the clappers. And I'm just going to turn it again. You can see that's really bubbling away, which is the way it should have been out there, but it's too windy today. So think about where you're going to position your paella ring. Try it out, light it, on different days and just see where you get the most shelter, because that's where you'll be able to cook like this. And normally I can cook it out there, but today it's just too windy. So when it's too windy, I bring it in and put it on the 4 rings. And it bubbles like that. I'm turning my prawns over just because I don't like those little white bits on it. I like to see them juicy. And I've got big prawns there, they came from Tesco's, I think. How much were the prawns, Nige? 6 of them. £7 for 6. Was it 6? Yes, I think so. I'm just going to leave that until it starts to dry out. And then I'm going to move the middle onto the bigger ring. And the way that you test that a paella is done is that you get a teaspoon or a spoon, manner, and you try in different places to move to the bottom, and there's nothing catching there yet. No. It's all very liquidy and there's nothing catching. So we cook it until we get that resistance, which means that the bottom has caramelised a little bit. Quemada, what do they call it, Nige? Quemada? Burnt. Well, it's not supposed to be buttered, but it catches the garlic, salt, the sugar in the vegetables, and it caramelises, so you get that quemada. And a paella in Spain is judged by the amount of quemada you have on the bottom. And every Spanish family will say to their Spanish mother, it's not the same as last week's, you haven't got much quemada here. So I always have to make sure that I have a good amount of quemada. Otherwise it's a thumbs down from the family. Right, Nigel, you're in my way. Would you like to move? Thank you, my darling. What are you doing? What are you doing? No, you're not having oh, you're having your bread toasted for your alioli. Okay, I'll do it. Nigel likes his bread toasted for his alioli. There you go. Put some alioli on it, John. We have a big bowl of alioli, as you've seen. And you can see that I get very hot. And my eyelashes are coming off now after 2 weeks. Okay, and that's crackling. When you can hear it crackling, you know that it's doing its job. So don't think it's done, it's not. Okay, there's too much liquid there. I don't want to see any liquid. I want to see all the liquid gone. So I'm just going to leave it bubbling at the moment. I've got no more caldo. If you think you need a little bit more caldo stock, then just put water, because you've got all your flavours in there. So just a little bit of water from the kettle in the areas that you think it needs it. I always look at rice and you can see it's translucent around the outside and you see a centre piece. Well, if you can still see that centre piece in the rice, it's not cooked, obviously. So, and you know that as a chef. So we just put more in, and I'm looking there and I can see that this is translucent here because it's not had much cooking, but around the outside it's cooking well, so that's going to start burning like quemada. So I'll let that burn, and then I'm going to transfer the centre bit over to one and finish it off there. Okay? Okay, so all the liquid's gone. I did put a little bit extra water in, but you know, you just try that yourself. At this stage, well, I have already tasted the salt. There's enough salt in that. Okay, so now I want to check.
Piste la résistance.
The resistance Oh yes. Oh yes. I can feel it on the bottom. Just wait for that last little bit to do. And that, my little minkies, is and for garnishing I have the rest of the parsley and the lemon slices, and most importantly 1 ladle and 2 clean tea towels. Now you can hear it crackling. There's very little liquid I can see cooking. So I think I'm ready to turn that baby off. Move it out the way. That was hot. So I turned it off. I'm putting my ladle upside down. And now the steam must do the rest of it. Most importantly, don't be tempted to eat it straight away. The rice needs to fluff. So now we leave it for about 10 minutes. And then I garnish it with parsley and the lemons, and I'll show you what it looks like when we've done that. Okay, towels are off, parsley's on, and lemons are in. Now it's normal in a Spanish family just to eat out the pan, but we're a little bit politer than that. But we all get our little section of the pan anyway, so you just dig in and eat what you like. That's your paella. And you can put squid in it, you can put rabbit in it. In the original paella, meat paella, there would have just been chicken and rabbit and a few snails that they picked up around the farm. But we've, over the years, it's been sort of developed, and this is a mixed one, so that's why you have fish as well as meat. Thank you.